morning. Let's do the daily Tanya for Monday, the 15th of September. The date is Chaf Beis Elul, 22nd of the month of Elul, 8 days to Rosh Hashanah. And let's get right to it. So today's Tanya starts a new communal letter 16, epistle 16. And this was written to a particular community of the Hasidic Brotherhood somewhere in, White Russia. And the basic idea is he's writing, once again, like most of the letters in this section, charity appeals for the fund that Rabbi Shlomo Zalman, the Alter Rebbe, administered, the Kolel Chabad, the monies raised to support the Hasidic Aliyah in Israel, who were really poor. And that was, by the way, just to understand, the Jews that made Aliyah in the late 1700s, early 1800s, I think most of them were religious. We're doing it for religious reasons, right? It was like a religious dream to be in the holiness of Israel. And what do you do in Israel in 1777? So there could be some of the details, but essentially it was a life of piety. Like you prayed, you studied. I think a lot of people retired there, although it wasn't a very a lush place to retire. It was a very poor place. And it seems, from what I understand, that they were literally dependent on outside support in order to keep the old Yishuv, the old settlement of Israel, going. It wasn't there's like agricultural settlements. Anyways, so the Alter Rebbe was in charge of raising money for, I said this a bunch of times, these letters were appeals to donate to the fund that went to these poor Hasidim in the Holy Land. And now he's writing to one of his donor base, which was a community somewhere in White Russia, I'm guessing, somewhere in Russia. And he's basically going to say, like, I know it's really hard times here in Russia. Really hard. And as a matter of fact, it says in footnote number 3, the Alter Rebbe in the Yiddish original of the present commentary. The Lessons in Tanya, which is in the Chayenu, is a translation of the Yiddish Shiurim b'Sefer Tanya. And when they translate, they say, unfortunately, this community fell in hard times, nishda gedacht, which is an expression of like, may we never know of such things, because it must have been really hard economic times there. So he said like this: my beloved, my brethren, my friends, who are to me like my own soul. It's very powerful, these opening words in general. The Alter Rebbe can give very tough demands from the Hasidim. As you'll see, there's going to be a very tough demand. But he says, I love you like my own soul. Like I'm not talking down or talking to you. I'm talking to us, because you're like my soul. You're like my soul brothers. Anyways, it tells you the way a Rebbe talks. It's not advice. It's unity. It's solidarity. Okay, the hardships of these times are not hidden from me. Rabbi Shlomo Zalman say, I know it's not. I'm not clueless. In that the means for earning a livelihood had declined, meaning the present capacity, there's just less money earning opportunities, especially among those known to me from your community whose hands have faltered, because Hasidim would send in their, the state of affairs of their life to the Rebbe. So they are without any providers at all, meaning there's no work available for husband or wife. And they literally borrow in order to eat. In other words, they don't have the savings or the wherewithal to buy even minimal They don't even have a way to buy bread money without having to go into debt and deal with that problem. May God show them compassion and speedily bring them respite from their straits. So he starts off empathizing, validating, understanding. He knows what they're going through. Nonetheless, he's going to make a big ask. You're not asking, speaking in the third person, but it's really, that you, they are not acting rightly unto their souls. To give with a full hand and a generous eye for all vital necessities to satisfy the needs of the clean destitutes. Or they say, the Rabbi says, maybe it means, it's weird, the clean destitutes, like the clean paupers, like what does that mean? It can mean, it probably means the paupers who are cleaned out of everything. Then it's expression. Anyways, I mean, you think you have it bad. The ones that are in Israel, they're the cleaned out destitute people whose eyes are lifted unto us. They are dependent on us to survive. If we will not pity them, heaven forfend, who will? And it is written, so your brother may live with you. As the ruling of the sages that your own life takes precedence, this applies only in a case where one has a pitcher of water in hand. So the Alter Rebbe is predicting a comeback. Like, Rebbe, you're asking a lot. And seemingly your asking goes against Jewish law, because there's a basic Jewish law of when you're in a desert, right, and you only have one jug of water, and your friends with you, and you only have enough water for one person to survive. Two people couldn't survive. You split it, no one's surviving. And the law is chayecha koidmin, which means your life takes precedence in that, difficult situation. You don't have to both die, or you don't have to die to give him the water. So you could apply that legal. It's a legal term about in a case of survival, your needs come first. However, the Alter Rebbe, who was not just a great mystic, he was also a great codifier of Jewish law. Like he says, he knows his stuff. He says that doesn't apply. That only applies when it is equally essential that both drink in order to save the lives from thirst. When you're talking about there's one cup of water that will make one person survive. Yes, then you go first if it's you own the cup. But that's not apples to apples here. If a pauper needs bread for the mouths of babes and firewood and clothes against the cold and the like, right? Like someone needs basics, then all of those take precedence over any bonuses, any fine apparel and family feasts with meat and fish, all kinds of delicacies for oneself and all of one's household. These are the array of bourgeois non-essentials. It comes from a song, apparently. So it says here, it says from a well-known Zmira. It's a Zmira about all the courses.
What is bourgeois? Do you know?
Middle class.
Middle class.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, in the olden days, right, there was like, the poor people. There was the rich. And there was the middle class who had like, what we call more, it's probably more than middle class today. Because back then it wasn't like,
Call you back, Rose.
What?
I'm sorry. I have to mute.
Oh, sure. The bourgeois, it can't just be middle class. That's all it means, middle class.
Literally, it just means a city dweller.
I mean, those that have more access.
Historically, it's like upper
Middle class.
Upwardly mobile.
Yeah, upwardly mobile middle class. Very good. I wonder if the term burger is connected to bourgeois. It is.
They don't have the same connotation, yeah. But I mean,
yeah, a burger was like an upwardly mobile middle class.
Right.
Yeah. Okay. All right. Advanced ESL today. Okay. So. And this is like he's giving examples of like with the upper middle class, what they enjoy, meat and fish. Those are delicacies. Those are non-essentials. The rule that your own life takes precedence does not apply in such a case, because these are not really essential to life, as are the needs of the poor in true equality, as discussed in the Nidarim, page 80b. The Gemara there talks about there's a stream that goes from the source through town A, and then it goes downstream to town B. Let's say it's a small stream, and there's only enough water for one community. Then the first town, because it goes to them first, they can keep it. They don't have to leave water for the next town. If it's the same applies with need for livestock or washing clothes. But he says, but if we're talking about a stream, and it's a matter of this, if the first town wants to say we don't just want to drink, we want to wash our clothes in it. We said no. Then you got to give the second town a drinking opportunity before you go wash your clothes.
These people in Israel were purposely sent.
I think, yeah. I mean, it was willingly. I mean, sent. They were.
It makes me wonder from some other things I've read whether the Rebbe would approve. I mean, if he were, let's say, he were doing triage with his shluchim and said, "Should I go here or not, or should I stay there?" Wouldn't it seems to me I've read.
There's room.
The Rebbe would say, "Look, don't go there. You're going to be a burden on this community, which is already poor enough." And
so, I mean, I don't know.
Don't go there unless
it's interesting
you've got a way to make a
discussion.
living.
It's an interesting discussion.
Right.
The Alter Rebbe was going to go, by the way. He was planning on going. He actually went on the first leg of the journey towards the ship to go from wherever to Israel.
Right. So,
Then he turned back. We don't know why he turned back. Like he whatever the reason was, he was. So, I don't know if you can compare exactly the same situation with the Rebbe. And then, first of all, the fact that the Chassidim that went to Israel was the vast minority. It was a sambo, 100 families. I don't know what.
They were encouraged.
No, but same. But I think it's different than today. I think the Rebbe's idea of